Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to 90 Day Fiancé latest news. On December 5th, rumors of betrayal and scandal spread quickly on Instagram. Alexei Brovarnik, who was once an adored star of 90 Day Fiancé, was detained after a night of high-stakes gaming and accused fraud. The casino was a place where luck happened. The walls were covered with neon lights in shades of electric blue and red, while the velvet rugs muted the sounds of gamblers running after money. Alexei Brovarnik walked in like a man who has been in the spotlight before. Millions of people knew him from reality TV, but today he was just another player in the big game of risk. He walked toward the high-stakes tables, where people might win or lose a lot of money in a matter of minutes. Later, witnesses said he was confident, even cocky. He laughed a lot, ordered drinks, and made small talk with people he didn't know. But there was tension under the surface. He looked at the chips for a long time, played with his cards, and his smile faded when the dealer's hand beat his. Alexei had lost $50,000 by midnight. The amount was huge, not just because of how much money it was, but also because of how it broke him down. He lost his cool. He stopped laughing. He leaned forward and whispered earnestly to the dealer, pointing at the chips as if he were bartering with fate itself. People around remembered his voice getting louder and his motions getting more frenzied. The casino's glitz turned into desperation. Almost right away, rumors started to spread. Some said he tried to cheat the system, while others muttered about fake chips or altered cards. The truth was unclear, but the show was clear. Alexei was no longer a player. He was a man falling apart in the neon light. The scandal played out on Instagram. Within hours, there were stories, grainy videos of Alexei at the table with subtitles full of supposition. Did he cheat? One post asked, "Cheating at the casino?" Another said. Screenshots of claimed eyewitness testimonies spread like wildfire, with each one contributing to the fire. But the most shocking claim was that Andrei Castravet, Alexei's longtime buddy and fellow reality star, was behind the turmoil. Posts made him look like a bad guy who was behind treachery from the shadows. One influencer said, "Andrei set him up. He wanted Alexei to fall." The story was too good to be true. Fans ate it up, sharing, commenting on, and picking apart every little thing. The Whisper network thrived on not being clear. Perception was more important than facts. In the court of Instagram, how things looked was everything. The police cars' flashing lights pierced through the casino's fake glow around 2 a.m. People stopped in the middle of a spin, sip, or breath. The officers came in quietly but with authority, turning the casino into a stage of judgment. People came up to Alexei, asked him questions, and then held him back. The bright light from both official and unofficial cameras lit up his pallid yet stubborn face. The arrest was like something out of a movie. Within minutes, clips of Alexei's walk of shame down the casino floor were all over social media. Some footage showed him yelling, while another showed him with his head down and no sound. The story changed, but the picture stayed the same. Alexei Brovarnik, a former reality star, was now in jail. It was shocking for a lot of people. For some, it was unavoidable. And for Andrei Castravet, it was the perfect storm. Alexei and Andrei's connection has always been hard to understand. They were friends on screen, helping each other deal with the nasty world of reality TV stardom. There was a lot of tension off-screen. Their friendship was built on shaky ground because of personality clashes, commercial disagreements, and whispered rivalries. Those fissures had now grown into a huge hole. The story on Instagram made Andrei look like the bad guy, the one who converted a friend into an enemy. It didn't matter if it was planned or made up. The perception was enough. Fans thought Andrei had betrayed Alexei, and Alexei was the sad victim of a friendship that went wrong. The scandal didn't happen in courtrooms. It happened on social media. Instagram was the judge, jury, and executioner. Influencers spoke out, fans picked apart every little thing, and hashtags like #CasinoScandal, #AlexeiArrest, and #AndreiTheVillain were always trending. Journalists were in a hurry to catch up, but the speed of rumors was faster than the speed of facts. When things weren't clear, people could only guess. And in the midst of all that, reputations were changed. People called Alexei a fraud and Andrei a villain, and the story became more important than the truth. Betrayal isn't usually loud. It's quiet, a whisper here, a hint there, a seed planted in rich soil. The stories about Andrei being involved suit this pattern. He wasn't at the casino, but you could feel his presence in every story. He wasn't arrested, but his name was dragged through the mud with Alexei's. Friendship, which used to protect them, was now a weapon. Andrei's supposed betrayal wasn't just personal. It was public, and social media made it much worse. The effects were felt right away. Companies stayed away from each other. Fans split into groups. Some people backed Alexei, saying he was a victim of his circumstances. Others criticized him for not taking personal responsibility. Andrei, on the other hand, became a figure of evil, and his name became a synonym for betrayal and deception. It wasn't just one night at the casino that caused the scandal. It was about trust, celebrity, and the thin border between real life and acting. It was about how fast a friend might turn into an enemy, and how rapidly a reputation could fall apart because of rumors. The human cost was hidden behind the headlines and hashtags. Alexei's detention wasn't just a show, it was a genuine problem. The shame, the loss of money, and the treachery all made things worse. Andrei also had to deal with how people saw him, which made his goals seem less clear. The controversy showed that fame is not permanent, that friendships can dissolve, and that it is often hard to tell what is true and what is not. When the dust settled, one thing was clear: Buddy had turned into enemy. The outcome was the same, whether Andrei planned it or it just happened. A link that was once strong has been broken, leaving behind a trail of scandal, rumors, and sadness. The lights in the casino went out, the Instagram feeds were updated, and the story continued on. But Alexei and Andrei's story was far from over. Not by friendship, but by betrayal, their names will always be linked. There were no flashing lights or handcuffs at the end of the scandal. That was only the start in many ways. What happened next was a chain of events, legal, personal, and cultural, that turned one night into a story of betrayal and show. Fans, critics, and analysts used the casino event as a lens to look at how fragile fame is and how quickly friendships can change. The media was the first to react. Tabloids put Alexei's arrest on their top pages, making him look like a fallen star whose charm on reality TV had turned into carelessness. Headlines screamed about scandal, betrayal, and fraud, and each one was more shocking than the last. Television shows showed blurry footage of the arrest over and over again, analyzing his body language, quiet, and refusal. Analysts wondered what his reasons were, how much money he had, and how he got along with Andrei. The story wasn't only about a man getting jailed. It was also about a friendship ending, a betrayal being revealed, and a warning for anyone who was in the public eye. Social media made the turmoil worse. Instagram was full of memes, TikTok videos made the controversy seem more dramatic, and Twitter threads picked apart every story with forensic detail. Fans split into two groups. Hashtag Team Alexei said he was a victim of circumstance and that Andrei's alleged schemes had taken advantage of him. Hashtag Team Andrei said Alexei was to blame for his own choices and that blaming Andrei was a handy way to avoid taking responsibility. The argument was heated, emotional, and never-ending. Every post, remark, and hashtag contributed to the story, making it hard to tell what was real and what wasn't. The cost in human lives was huge for Alexei. The loss of trust made the public arrest even more embarrassing. Friends stopped talking to them, brands pulled out of deals, and chances disappeared. People thought of him as a fake and a betrayer, not a charming reality TV star. The weight of what people thought of him changed who he was in ways he couldn't control. Andrei also had to deal with how others saw him. Even though he wasn't arrested, people talked badly about him. People spoke bad things about him, saying he was a villain, a mastermind, and a betrayer. Fans devoured the story and picked apart his intentions and deeds. He was stuck in a story that made him look like the bad guy, no matter if he was guilty or not. The friendship that had previously been praised was now used as a weapon, turned into a warning story of broken trust and commitment. The scandal showed how betrayal works in the digital era. It wasn't just private chats or personal disagreements. It was amplified, televised, and watched by millions. Betrayal turned into content, friendship turned into a show, and the border between real life and acting got so blurry that it was impossible to tell what was real and what was fake. The casino incident was more than simply a personal issue. It was a cultural event that struck a chord because it showed how fragile human relationships can be when celebrity is always watching. Eyewitness testimonies made the story more interesting. People at the table talked about how desperate Alexei was, how he waved his arms around and begged in a low voice. Staff remembered the stress, the fights, and the time when the cops showed up. Each story added more information, but none made things clearer. The truth was hard to find since it was hidden under layers of gossip and impression. What important was not what happened, but how people thought about it, spoke about it, and used it. The scandal also showed how social media may act as a trial by fire. Without official declarations, followers became detectives, influencers became critics, and platforms became courtrooms. Not by judges, but by hashtags, not by proof, but by perception. Some people thought Alexei was guilty, while others thought he was innocent. Some people thought Andrei was bad, while others thought he was misunderstood. The story was more important than the truth. The scandal changed over time. New stories, rumors, and theories spread. Some people said Alexei had been framed, while others said he had planned the scam himself. Some said Andrei had changed things to his advantage, while others said it was just fan fiction. The tale became a living thing, changing, expanding, and adjusting to what its readers wanted. It was no longer about what actually happened. It was about what people thought happened, what they wanted to believe, and what they needed to believe. The cost to people grew. Alexei had a hard time dealing with the pressure of public opinion, the loss of trust, and the loss of his sense of self. Andrei had to deal with the stigma of being a villain, the weight of rumors, and the difficulty of defending himself against what people thought. Both guys were stuck in a story that they couldn't get out of, a story that defined them in ways they couldn't change. The scandal also showed how easy it is for celebrity to fade. Alexei and Andrei became famous through reality TV, but fame was a double-edged sword. It gave them visibility, chances, and power, but it also put them under the watchful eye of others, who could judge them and betray them. The casino event was a reminder that fame is not a shield. It is a spotlight that makes weaknesses more obvious, mistakes more obvious, and private problems into public dramas. The treachery between Alexei and Andrei became a metaphor of how celebrity can make friendships weak. It wasn't just about two men. It was also about how fame changes relationships, how trust breaks down when people are watching, and how loyalty breaks down when things get tough. Their narrative struck a chord because it highlighted a universal truth. Friendship is delicate, betrayal is heartbreaking, and fame makes both worse. The controversy had effects that went beyond the people who were engaged. It became a cultural phenomenon, a story that fans read, critics picked apart, and platforms spread. It was a reminder of how powerful tales are, how they change how we see things, and how our perceptions change reality. The casino event was more than simply a controversy. It was a story that showed how fame can be fragile, how friendship can be unstable, and how betrayal works. In the end, the truth was still hard to find. We may never know all that transpired at the casino that night. But the story was clear. A friend had turned into an enemy, trust had turned into treachery, and celebrity had turned into weakness. It wasn't just about Alexei and Andrei, it was also about how tales are told, how people read them, and how perception becomes reality. The lights in the casino went out, the Instagram feeds were updated, and the story continued on. But the echoes of betrayal stayed with her, reminding her that celebrity is short-lived, friendship is unstable, and betrayal is heartbreaking. The story of Alexei and Andrei wasn't just a scandal. It was a warning about how fragile human relationships can be when fame is always watching. The narrative didn't finish when the casino lights went out or when Instagram feeds got new things to look at. Instead, it stayed around like smoke after a fire and stuck to the reputations of the people involved. People used Alexei's imprisonment as a warning and a reminder of how fast good luck may turn into bad luck. Fans couldn't stop talking about Andrei's supposed treachery, which led to a web of ideas, arguments, and accusations. The scandal became bigger and bigger in the weeks that followed. News organizations kept talking about the event and writing articles about how fragile reality TV celebrity is. Commentators said that the controversy showed deeper realities about the stress of being famous, how friendships can change when they're under scrutiny, and how social media makes every mistake seem bigger. The casino incident was no longer only about Alexei and Andrei. It was also about the culture that took over their lives, the people who criticized them, and the media that made their demise much worse. The personal cost was huge for Alexei. The arrest took away his dignity, and the following took away his identity. People no longer saw him as the attractive reality TV star. Instead, they saw him as the man who lost $50,000, the man who was accused of fraud, and the man whose friend betrayed him. Every headline, post, and meme reinforced that identity and changed him in ways he couldn't control. He had a hard time getting his story back, but public opinion was always against him. At the same time, Andrei became the story's bad guy. He was seen as the mastermind, the betrayer, and the adversary, no matter what. Fans went back and watched prior episodes of 90 Day Fiancé to find hints about his past behavior, looking at his words and actions through the prism of betrayal. Every smirk, every fight, and every tense moment was seen as proof of bad behavior. He was stuck in a story that didn't define him by who he really was, but by who fans thought he was. The controversy showed how powerful stories can be in the internet era. Perception was more important than truth, and emotion was more important than proof. What mattered was the story people wanted to believe, the story that made sense to them, and the drama that kept them interested. Alexei and Andrei weren't just people. They were characters in a novel that millions of people read, a story that blurred the line between real life and fiction. As the controversy went on, the cost to people grew. Alexei was alone, his friends were stressed, and he had less chances. He stopped trusting others, stopped being loyal, and stopped believing in the people around him. He felt betrayed not only personally, but also publicly, with millions of people watching. Andrei had to deal with stigma, a bad reputation, and people questioning his motives. He was defensive, angry, and stuck in a story he couldn't get out of. Both guys were victims of a story that took over their lives, defined who they were, and wouldn't let them go. The controversy also showed how fragile stardom can be. Reality TV had given Alexei and Andrei fame, power, and chances, but it had also put them under a lot of pressure, judgment, and betrayal. Fame made their defects bigger, their blunders louder, and their private problems into public shows. The casino event showed that fame is not a shield. It is a spotlight that shows everything, even the flaws and betrayals. Fans ate up the scandal with great interest. They argued, guessed, made up stories, and acted out. They made memes, movies, and threads, each of which added to the story in a new way. They became detectives, commentators, and storytellers, molding the scandal in ways that showed their own views, biases, and aspirations. The scandal wasn't only about Alexei and Andrei, it was also about the people who watched it, the culture that made it bigger, and the platforms that made it possible. The treachery between Alexei and Andrei showed how celebrity can make friendships weak. It wasn't just about two men, it was also about how fame changes relationships, how trust breaks down when people are watching, and how loyalty breaks down when things get tough. Their narrative struck a chord because it highlighted a universal truth. Friendship is delicate, betrayal is heartbreaking, and fame makes both worse. The controversy had effects that went beyond the people who were engaged. It became a cultural phenomenon, a story that fans read, critics picked apart, and platforms spread. It was a reminder of how powerful tales are, how they change how we see things, and how our perceptions change reality. The casino event was more than simply a controversy. It was a story that showed how fame can be fragile, how friendship can be unstable, and how betrayal works. In the end, the truth was still hard to find. We may never know all that transpired at the casino that night. But the story was clear. A friend had turned into an enemy, trust had turned into treachery, and celebrity had turned into weakness. It wasn't just about Alexei and Andrei. It was also about how stories are told, how people take in stories, and how perception becomes reality. The echoes of treachery stayed with me, a warning that celebrity is short-lived, friendship is unpredictable, and betrayal is terrible. The incident of Alexei and Andrei wasn't just a scandal. It was a warning about how fame can break up relationships. The affair became a well-known example in the field of celebrity sociology. Scholars looked at it, reporters wrote about it, and fans made it into a play. It showed how celebrity works, how hard it is to be famous, and what happens when someone betrays you. It illustrated the construction of tales, the reformation of reputations, and the transformation of perception into reality. It wasn't simply a narrative, It was a phenomena that showed how complicated human connections can be when they are in the public eye. The casino event became a symbol of how luck can change. Like chips, reputations can go in a single night. Trust may break in an instant, just like chance can change. The scandal was a warning that luck may change, that fame is short-lived, and that friendship can be unstable. People liked the story because it told the truth about things that go beyond the casino, reality TV, and celebrity itself. Fans read about the betrayal between Alexei and Andrei, analysts talked about it, and platforms spread the word. The narrative showed how celebrity can be fragile, friendship can change quickly, and betrayal may happen. It was a story that stayed with me, that resonated, and that wouldn't go away. The scandal's legacy wasn't only about Alexei and Andrei. It was also about the society that engulfed them, the people who judged them, and the platforms that made their downfall much worse. It was about how stories are told, how people take in stories, and how perception becomes reality. It was about how fame can be fragile, how friendships can change quickly, and how betrayal can be devastating. Over time, the controversy stayed in people's minds as a warning story and a sign of how fragile fame can be. It was remembered not just for the arrest and the betrayal, but also for how it showed deeper realities about how celebrities work, how hard it is to be famous, and what happens when trust is violated. It was a story that stayed with me, that resonated, and that wouldn't go away. The lights in the casino may have gone out, and the Instagram feeds may have been updated, but the sounds of betrayal stayed. They were in the news, in memes, and in conversations. They stayed in reputations, friendships, and identities. They stayed as a reminder that celebrity is short-lived, friendship is unstable, and betrayal is terrible. The story of Alexei and Andrei was more than simply a scandal. It was a phenomenon, a warning, and a mirror that showed how fragile human relationships can be when celebrity is always watching. It was a story that showed how treachery works, how friendship can change, and how celebrity can be fragile. It was a story that stayed with me, that resonated, and that wouldn't go away. This gossip is over. If you liked the video, then give your opinion in the comment box and stay with us by subscribing the channel. Thank you.